Okay, so the Top Sky F7X goggles finally came in. I thought this was lost in the mail. Everyone in the world's reviewed this already like 5 times, and I've just now finally gotten it. I don't know why it took so long, but there was no status update in the shipping. It just said it's been shipped, and then there was no information on it, and all of a sudden it just showed up. So it comes in this nice case, and you get cleaning cloth. So you get some documentation here. You get like a quick start guide and an instruction manual. Okay, so you get the goggles, you get head strap, charger, got an antenna here, goggle battery, some foam, and you get some audio video cables, HDMI adapters. So this one has gotten a lot of negative reviews out there from the ones I've heard about, and so let me know if you guys want to see something about this goggle that the other reviewers haven't covered yet, or because they decided they don't want to make a video that you have questions about them. I'll try and answer them in the video that I make. I'm going to just cover the stuff that most of the people didn't cover yet. Okay, you got some more parts here. Got some Sunny Sky motors. These are the 1104 7500 kVs, and they're in blue. So you get the motor and some screws and some washers. And here's a closer look at the motor itself. 1104 7500 kV, Sunny Sky, and anodized blue. It's kind of hard to see the windings, but they look pretty decent. The magnets are very close to the stator, and there's a bit of notching here. It's not super strong. 24 gauge motor wire, and pretty good length for pretty much any size out there, probably up to even a 3-inch prop. I'm not sure when to put this on, but it'll be in one of the builds, so if you're curious about this motor, stay tuned for one of the builds and you'll see that pretty soon. Okay, just got the new RunCam Micro Sparrow in, 145 degree field of view. So this is supposed to be a little bit smaller than the Micro Swift. It looks like documentation instructions are on the website. So it looks like it's got the same lens that the Micro Swift has. And it looks like it's a 2.1. Yeah, it's a 2.1 millimeter lens. But it looks like it's shorter in focal length. Same plugs in the back here, so it doesn't have the voltage display or the voltage sensor. And you get the OSD joystick as well as the bracket and the cables and plugs. Okay, I got this, basically is the bottom plate for the DYS ELF. So that little micro would only support up to 1.5-inch prop with the ducts and all that. This frame will convert the electronics, the motors, and basically the combo ESC flight controller board that you're going to stick on here. And there's a TPU printed mount that I'm going to be printing out that will hold the camera, and then this will convert it from 1.5-inch to a 2-inch. So for those, I think the 1102 10,000 kV motors, it'll have a lot more power on a 2-inch setup. I think this is a 3mm frame. So if you guys are looking for a replacement frame for your broken DYS ELF because you crashed it, this might not be a bad choice to go to, assuming all your electronics still work. Okay, so this is the new Racer Star. It's like a 30 amp 4-in-1 ESC plus a flight controller, current sensor, all that stuff. So you get some 16 gauge wire for your XD60, and you get some nylon screws and standoffs and spacers for mounting. And yeah, they got the thing shrink wrapped here, so you can see the 4-in-1 ESC on the bottom here, your connection here for your battery lead, your XD60, and you got a current sensor, and then I think you got a 5-volt BEC on here. I think it's 3 amps. Obviously 32-bit BLHeli32, and so that'll do DShot 1200. Obviously we can't see what is under the board here, but then you got on the sticker, got some readings here for the pinouts. So you got 5-volt ground, video in, ground, or video out, video out, ground, video in, ground, 5 volts, and S-bus. So these are all going to be your connections for your OSD. So I'm assuming it's got an OSD in there, and your receiver. So it's a single board for your OSD, flight controller, and ESCs all in one. So if you got a really thin profile build, this might not be a bad choice to take a look at. Okay, so this is a new product from FX. It's the FX888R. It's a triple diversity receiver, not a dual diversity receiver. So it has three receivers in here, and it's standalone, so it's going to be used as a ground station. So here's the device itself, and you got a tripod mount. That's nice. Comes with 3 antennas that I'm not going to be using. And you got AV cable. Obviously, this will probably go to your goggles, probably my Fat Shark goggles. And then you got an XD60 power cable here. Looks like that's a yeah, that's a very unique looking cable, and you don't want to lose this because you won't be able to power this thing on. So that's the power connector there. Definitely can't lose that power connector, but you can power that off an XD60 battery. AV in out, and you got 3 receivers. You got AV out for each individual receiver, and yeah, it looks like this is an SMA connector, not RPSMA. So you got 3 individual receivers here. Should have some pretty good reception. You could have like two different kinds of omnis and 1 patch, or 2 patches and 1 omni. Yeah, so I'll have a full review on this coming up soon. It's pretty low profile, pretty light, so should be a pretty good receiver. We'll check it out soon. Okay, so I picked up some new FlySky receivers here, and this is kind of similar to the FS88S, but design, the chip layout is a little bit different. This one also does PPM and iBus and SBus. As you can see, it's got the 4-pin connector just like the FS88S. But it looks like it also has the solder pads for the different connections like ground and signal and stuff. So you could potentially remove this connector and make this really slim profile. And it does have a removable antenna here, micro FL connector, and a bind button. So picked up these super cheap. They were like $5 on flash sale. I'm not sure if they're still on sale or not, but you can check the link in the description below. And if you want some cheap FlySky receivers that will work with the Turnigy Evolution, I would check this receiver out. It does do the 2nd generation protocol, so it will work with the Evolution, and it does iBus. Okay, I got this new micro drone kit here. It's a DIY drone kit called Flyblocks. It kind of looks like Legos, and I'm not sure if it's licensed by Legos, but it's probably not, since I don't see any of the Lego branding on here, but it looks like it might be compatible. Of course, I'm not 100% sure on that. There's no indication of that anywhere here, but it looks like you use these sort of Lego type pieces to build your own micro drone. It looks like it's using brushed motors. Okay, just grabbed everything out of the box. Take a quick look at it. It looks like it comes with like an Xbox style controller here, you know, toy controller type transmitter, AA batteries in the back probably. And we got some motor mount things here and some props. Looks like it's using the 55 or 50 millimeter props, Hubson style props. And here we got some motors. They look like 8.5 millimeter motors, and they got little sockets or connectors here, so probably no soldering need to be done. And we got a battery, 3.7 volts, 900 milliamps. And it looks like it has a JST connector, and you have a charger as well. I bet you this is probably the flight controller, and where the motors all connect up to is where the battery plugs in. And it looks like it's all enclosed, so it doesn't look like this is one of those where you can tune it with like Betaflight or anything like that. It's just going to be whatever firmware comes with. And here are all the Lego pieces. I suspect you could probably build several different types of drones with the pieces they got here. Yeah, and as you can see in the pictures, it looks like you have different configurations of different types of drones, from a hexcopter to just a normal quadcopter in different form factors here. So I'll have a review on this pretty soon. We'll do a little build and try out some different configurations and see how they fly. Okay, so I got a bunch of stuff here from Atmospheric Adventures. Quickly start off here. This is the 2-inch Aries mini frame, so it's for 2-inch props. And I believe this is like an H-style frame. Looks like it's wider than it is longer, so front to back is shorter than side to side. Comes with a TPU canopy for your little micro camera and your all-in-one board flight stack. This is the 2-inch version, and then I've also got here. This is the AOLES 2-inch mini. So this is also for 2-inch props, but front to back is different here. It's just a Stretch X. Its front to back is longer, side to side is shorter, and I believe it's got the same TPU canopy that the Aries has. So you have basically it's similar design on the pod, but the frame is going to be different. So I'll have a review video on these two guys in a separate video pretty soon. Okay, got a couple of batteries here. This is a Zeus Juice 3S 444 mAh 75C battery with an XT30 connector. So this is a sort of a stick style battery instead of the flat style battery. And I've reviewed some other brands of the 2S kind of stick style batteries. This is a 3S battery, and I'll have a separate review on this. I'll compare it to some of the other 3S LiPos I have, especially against the GNB 450, which I like. Okay, so here's the 1333 mAh 95C battery from Atmospheric Adventures 4-cell, and pretty average size for a 4-cell battery and weight. So I'll have a review comparison to the graphene batteries that I fly normally against this one. Let's see how this one does. Okay, so this is the Kratos version 2 frame. It's a 5-inch frame. So you get a battery strap, an XT60 connector, and a PDB. It looks like it's got some regulators on there. Yeah, it looks like it's got a 5-volt regulator and a 12-volt regulator. And it looks like all of their carbon pieces are neatly packaged here in plastic and compartmentalized. And you got looks like a top plate here, and it looks like the arms are actually in two, or the bottom plate's in 2 pieces. So there's 2 arms for each section. So I guess if you break one arm, you'd only have to replace 1/2 instead of the whole bottom plate. So it's kind of an interesting concept. There's the other half right there. And a bunch of hardware here, standoffs, screws, and nuts and stuff. Should be interesting build. I'll have a little build video and frame review coming up on this pretty soon. Okay, another 5-inch frame here. It's the AOLES 5-inch, and that's kind of what it looks like there in that picture. So we got the same PDB here with the 5-volt 12-volt regulator, the HV PDB. We got an XT60 connector, but it's not pre-wired, and a battery strap. Oh, they're including a diamond file in this one, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure if that means that the frame requires filing, or if they're just including that for your convenience, but that's kind of interesting that they include this. Little TPU part, not sure what that's for. Got some screws and some nylon standoffs. And this is the bottom plate. It's a 1-piece bottom plate, and it looks pretty thick. Might be 5 millimeters. And here's some additional pieces for the side plate. I think that's for the top section and camera mounts and such here. However, I also sell these TPU pods as well for the this particular frame. So if you don't want to build the top here with the carbon pod, you could use this pod instead, the TPU pod. And it looks like this one has a little flat area here for a GoPro, and you have a little cutout here for a battery strap for holding on the GoPro. So yeah, this should look pretty nice with the pod on, so I think I'll probably build it with the TPU pod instead of the carbon pieces. Okay, you got another foldable eSheen selfie drone, or little tiny drone here. It's called the E57, and the packaging seems to keep improving with each iteration here. Yeah, gives you an idea what that looks like. I think the motors pop up or something like that. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, so the motors are actually folded down. They're flat this way, and they should pop up at a 90-degree angle here. I think you just press these 2 side buttons to pop it open. Yeah, there you go. And so it makes it nice and flat when it's folded down, and then you can just store it like that. Okay, so this is the controller it comes with. It's kind of like a Nintendo style controller. It's kind of weird. Sliding sticks here, not like gimbals or anything like that. So this is probably not going to be that easy to control. It is a Wi-Fi FPV, so you could probably fly it with your phone as well. Yeah, it's got a little narrow camera lens there. I don't think there's any recording on board. Yeah, it's just to the phone. So I'll have a review video on this coming out pretty soon, so stay tuned. So we got a bunch of stuff here from HGLRC. That's the name of the company. And they make motors, flight controllers, and ESCs and stuff, especially the little micro all-in-ones. They sent me a set of these 1407 3600 kV motors. So if you're looking to build a 3-inch or 4-inch pretty lightweight build and a lot of power, these 1407 motors or motors of similar size here are going to give you a lot of power for the amount of weight that these motors have. Okay, so this is a power cube stack with a camera combo. So this is the XJB F413 TX20 ELF. So there's 3 things in here. There's the F4 flight controller, there's a 4-in-1 13 amp BLHeli ESC, and you have the TX20 video transmitter, and then you've got the ELF camera, which is kind of similar to the RenCam MicroSwift. It's supposed to be a micro CCD camera. Okay, so you got the 3 boards here, your video transmitter, flight controller, and ESC stack. And this is the micro camera. You can see it looks a lot like the MicroSwift. It looks like it's got a different lens on there, might be a little bit narrower. It's a 2.3mm lens. But yeah, it looks pretty much like a MicroSwift to me. It's got the wide voltage range, OSD plug. I wouldn't be surprised if it's pretty much exactly the same. The little lens, or this little front part here, is a little bit different. It's a little narrower here, so might have some issues fitting certain TPU pods. But yeah, this will be interesting to connect up to that stack, and it'll make for very easy micro building. Okay, here's the rest of the stuff that's in here. You got a micro FL whip antenna. Looks like you got your cables for your camera there, and then you got the screws and standoff spacers and stuff for the stack. Okay, this is the F4 Flame. I think this is an all-in-one PDB and flight controller together. Yeah, so we got your PDB on the bottom here. You got a voltage regulator, BEC. I think it's probably a 5-volt regulator, and then on this side you've got your F4 flight controller with the OSDs, probably Betaflight OSD, and you have all your solder points for your ESCs here. So obviously there's no ESCs on this board. This is going to be pretty good for your low profile builds with the ESCs on the arms. So oh, it's got a current sensor as well. So I'll have a separate video. We'll go over this in more detail later. Okay, now we have a micro all-in-one board here. It's the F4 Zeus. And this one packs in a bunch of stuff here. This is supposed to fit the 20x20 stack size, although you can see that it kind of goes over the edges quite a bit. I think it's more like a 25x25 size, but it'll mount on a 20x20 frame. So this is an all-in-one ESC, PDB, and flight controller in one single board. So pretty crazy. Even has a USB port here. You solder your motor wires directly to the sides here. It says motor 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you got a whole bunch of solder points here for your various UARTs, camera connections, etc., etc. So yeah, I'll have a full video on this one covering everything that's on here. This is going to be for your really super tight builds, and you can have everything on one board. Okay, so we got another RC car here from ZD Racing. This is a pretty good company in terms of the RC cars out there on Gearbest. It's another 1/10 scale, ready to run. So it comes with the battery, transmitter, everything. It's 4-wheel drive. This is an off-road buggy. So here's the pistol grip remote. It's the same one from the other model from ZD Racing, the Thunder. Get the same IMAX B6 charger. Here's a quick look at what the buggy looks like. Obviously similar to the other one. I think the shocks are probably the same. Oil filled. Maybe just different canopy here, different different wheels. But it looks pretty similar. And here's a quick look at the inside. You got the hard case LiPo there. I think this is pretty much all the same components. You got the same servo, looks like, ESC, and probably the same motor. Everything looks the same. Receivers on the top of the antenna here like that. So it might be slightly different chassis and shocks and wheels, but the internal electronics look like the same. Okay, so I got this racing drone kit from Nico Air. It's kind of like an all-in-one. It has a, looks like a brushed drone, micro drone here with a controller. Here's a quick look at what comes in there. Apparently there's the gates and like these little, I don't know what these things are, some sort of ports or something like that. I don't know if there's any electronics in there. I don't know a whole lot about this. But you get a controller, you get batteries, spare props, battery for the drone. Apparently they've teamed up with DRL, the Drone Racing League. It's sponsored by these guys and supposed to teach people how to fly racing drones, I guess. If they're interested in racing drones and seeing it on TV, then I guess this is sort of a way to get into it. I think it's mostly for kids though. You know, it says here 8 plus. Yeah, so you get these bases, you get some flags, these little connectors. I guess you can make some sort of a miniature racing course and fly this micro drone in there. Comes with a free simulator. I'm sure this is the same one that you can get online. I'm not sure if the controller will work with the simulator. I'm thinking probably not, but I guess we'll find out later. I don't know a whole lot about this, but I guess if you're someone that's into drone racing and want to check it out, this might be an interesting way to get into it. So I'll have a full review on this in the coming video soon.